Back in the book segment today, as we mentioned, the straw poll at the conservative conference in Washington last week shook down this way. Ron Paul won with 30%, Mitt Romney second with 23%. Former New Mexico Governor Gary Johnson, a legalized drugs guy, came in third with 6%. Joining us now from Washington, Fox News analyst Charles Krauthammer. That's kind of a weird straw poll, isn't it?
Well, that's because it's a weird group that that we're talking about here. You know, these are Ron Paul libertarians. You know Ron Paul, he's the guy who wants to repeal the Patriot Act. He wants to demolish the Fed. He wants to get out of all our involvements overseas. I'm not sure where Ron Paul is on the Louisiana Purchase, but I'm sure it's a kind of an iffy position. And what you've got of the group, CPAC, what you're talking about, is a lot of college students who all want to be Ayn Rand, and, you know, soon they'll grow up and become conservatives. So I wouldn't put a lot into this poll because the group is a kind of a fringy group. It's not Twilight Zone fringe. It's more sort of offshore, you know, sort of floating on a raft out there in the Gulf of Mexico. Mainline conservatives are not going to elect a Ron Paul. Nobody ever heard of Gary Johnson, and legalizing pot is not going to be a big agenda item for the Republicans in 2012.
The liberal media, though, loves this because they can go in there and cover it and say, look, this is what really Republicans are like, and that's why CPAC gets a lot of attention. But Mitt Romney did show up. You know, he's absolutely a mainline guy, and so lent it a little bit of legitimacy, did he not?
Yeah, and there was Romney, there was Mitch Daniels, there was John Thune, Tim Pawlenty. You had a lot of respectable guys. Why not go there? It's not as if there are no conservatives there. There's not any constituency at all. And in the end, those college students and their buddies in the end will vote for the Republican candidate, whoever he is, in November 2012.
Now, do you take a Donald Trump possible candidacy seriously, or do you think it's a publicity stunt?
No, it's not serious. He's a builder. He's not a president.
Okay, so you think he's doing this why? Just to get attention?
Well, why not? You know, I mean, it's fun. Get a little adulation. You get to tell the crowd Ron Paul has no chance of being elected. You get jeered a bit. You're out there on TV, and you and I are talking about him on the #1 show on cable. Why
not? No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of this. I actually think Ron Paul's participation in the election is a good thing because he challenges people, he throws things out there, and anybody who wants to run, even Ralph Nader, is welcome to run. But I do think Trump was right. He doesn't have any chance at all, Ron Paul. Now, does all of this, let's say, fringe stuff harm the Republican Party?
No, I don't think so. I think what's harming them right now is they have a weak field. They got a strong bench, actually. They got 3 guys on the bench who are not going to be the candidate in 2012, but who will be, you know, in the future of the party. You've got Marco Rubio, new senator from Florida, very attractive guy. Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey, you know, the gruff, tough, the guy who's not afraid to speak his mind. And then you've got Paul Ryan, the new head of the Budget Committee in the House. All of them could be on the ticket as a #2. None of them is really mature enough, or at least in the game long enough, to be a serious presidential candidate in 2012. And that is the problem, because the remaining candidates, the established candidates, all have a lot of political baggage, and they're going to be running against an incumbent president. It's not easy to do.
I see Mitt Romney as a front runner. Real quick, do you agree with me?
He is. I mean, he's got almost everything. He's got the organization. He's a good guy. He's sort of been vetted. He did reasonably well last time around. He's got one problem, and that is that he had Romney Care, a health care initiative in Massachusetts.
Yeah, but he could repudiate that if he wanted to. I don't know whether he will.
Well, if he's going to repudiate it, it's a bit late. He should have repudiated it a year ago.
All right.
He stuck with it, and the problem is this, Bill. The main plank against the president of any Republican is going to be expanding the size and scope and reach of government. And the #1 exhibit is Obamacare. And if you instituted something in Massachusetts that's almost the equivalent, it's got an individual mandate, it's very hard to make that case. That's the problem Romney has, and he hasn't solved it yet.
All right, Charles. Thanks.